entrepreneurs, welcome to another episode of our podcast. I am the Business Doctor Keitumetse Lekaba, Managing Director of I'm an Entrepreneur. I am with the Chairman of I'm an Entrepreneur, Mr. Khumalo.
Hola.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I'm so privileged today.
I am the one who's lucky. I've been watching all these people being on this podcast. I'm like, Nami, one day, shame, I'll make it. I'm so happy I'm here.
We saved you for the money conversation.
Oh, is that why?
Yes, that is why. Because the monies. And before we jump into the monies, I mean, you are in many boardrooms. You are in many business spaces. What is currently happening from a funding perspective? And what is the general feel around funding for entrepreneurs in South Africa?
So I would have to say that, unfortunately, these things don't happen in a vacuum. So kind of economic activity, even in our own country, even in your own little town, wherever you are on the continent, is going to be affected by what's happening in the world. And I think there is a relative feeling of the world is in a state of flux. I think the US election has resulted in an administration that is quite different to the previous administration, that's got very different and quite aggressive ways of doing things, generally speaking. So the rest of the world is kind of like, startled by it all. Then you've got all the wars happening around the world as well.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, what's happening in the East, from the Far East, we're kind of like, in the Middle East, rather, we're kind of aware of. But it's kind of also intensifying. And then you got Russia, you got a couple of things happening around the world that's making people not feel like, hey, the world is driving, right? And then you've got our own domestic issues, which I must say, my general feeling is that actually, because of what's happening in the rest of the world, suddenly South Africa just feels a little bit more positive. We're the rugby world champions. We just had our cricket guys, win the World Cup. Sundowns won a game at the World Championships. So I just feel like right now, and even economically, we finally did have the budget speech that tested the government of national unity. So I think that the mood in South Africa is probably more positive than the rest of the world. And how all of that kind of cascades to how lenders are going to feel about funding South African businesses, especially small businesses. I think they're in a better mood than the rest of the world.
I see.
I think they are a little bit concerned for businesses that rely on large global markets because of what's happening there. So they're worried about slowdown of growth in China. They're worried about what's happening in the US. They're worried about what's happening in Europe. So if your business is outwardly focused, which is normally a good thing, you're probably, kind of less attractive. But if you have a domestic business that's got domestic kind of demand,
attractive right now.
I think you're feeling a little bit more attractive. So I think a lot of B2B, and I'd even say some B2C businesses are probably going to banks with a bit more confidence, because I don't think lenders have so many options now, just because the world is a little bit not so great. So I think we have a shot now. We the small guy has a shot to walk into a bank and be a little bit confident if he's got something credible for the bank.
And what shifts have you seen in the market, particularly in the lending market for SMEs?
Shifts, I would say over time, the biggest shift has been the price of the lending. I think that because of, call it the inherent risk of smaller businesses, most lending has been pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And I think I'm seeing a lot more competitive pricing. Secondly, I've also seen a shift of more third-party lenders.
Yeah.
So, most small businesses only had their bank to go to.
True.
Other than the Mashonisa. Yeah. Now there are a couple of players that are more third-party lenders. Some of them kind of charge interest. It's a little bit higher than the bank, but they also have a higher risk appetite, right? And then some of them will fund you on the basis that they will share profit with you on a particular opportunity. So there's a couple of interesting models. Some of them are just purely online. There's a lot of lenders. Now you just go online and within 48 hours, you get a response. Yeah, 10, 20 years ago, those things were not there. You had to go sit down with your bank manager and drink a cup of tea or something. But nowadays, you can simply just do it in your own home and you have an answer quite quickly. So I think that the growth of these online kind of lending platforms is kind of creating a democracy of options for small businesses.
Sure. And on getting real about funding, I mean, you've said on both sides.
Yeah.
More now on the investor side.
Yeah.
What are some of the mistakes that you've seen entrepreneurs do when they come looking for funding?
I have to say, Kitu, the first thing you've got to understand about the world of lending and the world of finance is that the language of business is finance. So you have to be versed in the language. You know, it's almost like, picture yourself going to a foreign country, China for the first time. And as you walk around, there's nothing in English. Everything is in Chinese. There you are scanning with your Google Translate, trying to read signs. It's almost like that if you're getting into a finance conversation and you don't know how to speak finance.
The numbers.
So the first, exactly. And people don't know how to speak the numbers, but they want to convince people who need the language, who need to understand the language that you actually can't talk. So I would say, just learn the language of business. The language of business is finance. So you must be able to talk about your income statement, your balance sheet, what kind of security you have. You must be able to talk about what your revenues are, what your growth projections are, what your margins are, what your profit margins are, how much cash do you generate, how do you forecast, or, you know, all those things are the things the bank will ask. So if they're saying that to you and you have no idea what they're talking about, you just basically an African stuck in a Chinese store trying to communicate that you want, I don't know, chow mein or something, and you can't get it because you don't know the language.
And do the numbers mean, and understanding the numbers and being able to speak about the numbers, is that what funding readiness is about? Or is there more to it?
I would say funding readiness is about primarily the need for funding and secondly, the capacity for funding. Right?
Sure.
So if you ask everyone, hey, would like funding? Most people are going to say, yes, I want funding. But when you dig deeper, you may find that the business either doesn't need funding, so they're wrong in their assessment that they need funding, or they need money in the business, but actually the business can't be lent to. In other words, it can't receive debt. And that's because it doesn't have the capacity to have debt. So funding readiness for me is about how do you prepare your company, your business, to be attractive to lenders. And there's a couple of things you're going to have to satisfy for lenders to be attracted to you and to make it easier for them to lend you money. So that's what I think funding readiness is for me. You know, nowadays you can also employ advisors, accountants to help you almost think of it as a translator. All right. So back to my example of I'm in China and I can't speak English. And, you know, if I get somebody else who knows English and can speak to the restaurant owner in Chinese,
why not?
My problem is solved.
Why not?
And that's what an accountant can be for you. That's what a transaction advisor can be for you, who can explain the story, you know, to a potential lender. And you can use that as an opportunity for you to learn a little bit of the language. As when one gets translated, right? So you hear the translator say something, you quickly want to know, what did that mean?
And then that's how you learn.
Exactly. That's how you learn. And next time you're going to try it, you might kind of butcher it the first few times, but if you keep practicing,
eventually you'll speak the language.
Absolutely.
Sure. And there's a perception around funders only fund pitch perfect, pitches that are perfect.
Yeah.
And what is it in the pitch that makes people think that? And what needs to be perfect in the pitch that entrepreneurs need to be aware of? Because sometimes the perception is that if your pitch is perfect, you'll get funded.
The single most important thing you must get right. If people are watching this podcast, if you forget everything we spoke about, everybody, if you all forget what we talked about, the single most important thing is a paying customer. What do I mean by a paying customer? I don't care what you're selling, how much you're selling it for, who's your customer, what it takes to make it. It's all good and well and how amazing whatever it is that you think is so great in your business.
But the customer.
If there is no one digging into their pocket, coming out with money, paying you for this particular service or product, don't go to a bank and ask for funding. Because the number one thing the bank must assess is your ability to pay them.
True.
Then everything flows. How often, how long will it take for you to get cash? How much is your margin? How you run the business profitably? What's your equity position? Blah, 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 on and so forth. But if there's no clear transaction, I sell to you, you pay me, there's nothing to talk about.
And right now, there's a huge debate around entrepreneurs along what is better for as a startup, right? Is it debt funding or is it equity funding? What is your take on that? And do you think one of them is better than the other?
Oh, yeah.
Or how do you decide
My favorite
on what
topic.
to take?
So if, let's just say rule of thumb, take debt over equity.
Okay.
Rule of thumb, generally, debt is cheaper than equity. So you are a company, you sell widgets, and you now need 5 million rand so that you can buy the latest widget making machine. And I come to you and I say, Kitu, I will give you 5 million rand if you give me 50% of your business. Or a bank comes to you, they say, Kitu, you're running your business very well. You got customers that buy your widgets. You got a couple of cash flows, etc. So we'll lend you as asset finance 5 million rand, and you pay us back in 5 years at this interest rate. It is always cheaper to take the bank's money. It is much more expensive to take my equity. Yes, and it's simple. In 5 years' time, bye-bye bank. True. Here's your 5 million. Here's your interest. I don't have to talk to you again. If anything, now that I've paid you back your 5 million, you're probably going to give me 10 million.
More.
Exactly. Right? So I've now built this credit record with you, and we don't have to know each other. This Andile option, where he gave you the 5 million and he took 50% of your business, unless there was something else that Andile brought to your business that was worth you giving up half your company, that was a bad deal. So if I was just a commercial investor, I gave you 5% and you gave me 50%, and I never saw you again other than on the last day of the financial year, where I'm going to ask, so how are dividends looking, Gitu? I'm never on your board. I'm never giving you advice. I never bring customers. I never help you strategy. I'm just nowhere. You're getting no value from me. And you just gave up 50% of your business. Now you have to buy me out. Now, let's say the business doubles in growth or triples in growth. Guess how much 50% of the company is now? It's not 5 million.
All of a sudden, it's a lot of money.
It's a very expensive way to raise capital, this thing of selling shares. And I often get a lot of entrepreneurs come to me and they go, oh, but Andile, won't you invest in my business? And I just think, well, tell me what you need. And when you dig deeper, you realize they have an opportunity. They need capital for that opportunity. And I said to them, try and raise that capital without having to sell your business, because it is inevitably a more expensive option.
But how do you advise the young entrepreneur that they're desperate for the money? All they're thinking is angel investor.
Yeah.
Bank said no because you don't have track record.
Yeah.
Other lenders said no because you haven't run enough sales through the machine or whatever the reason is. And people take it from desperation, right? So what advice or how would you encourage those people to be like, just whoa?
You know, Kitu, I've learned a very valuable lesson about just like the realities of business. First of all, this word called value. You know, they say price is what you pay, value is what you get. They're not the same thing. So I may attach 100 Rand value to this cup, right? The cup itself and the contents may cost 20 Rand. But the reason I attach 100 Rand value is the way it makes me feel,
the branding,
the way it soothes my throat, whatever it is that I attach. That's not necessarily the price. Now, why is this important in the conversation we're having? It's a lot easier to get customers and build a proposition if the thing that you are offering your customer is valuable to them. In other words, if all you're going to do is try and regurgitate what already exists, you're not that valuable, because I can get it from 50 million other
anywhere
people.
else.
But if you can do something to me or give me something that I value more than its standard price, then now I'm interested. Now, if you have that, and let's imagine actually the contents were 20 Rand, but I was actually selling for 100 Rand. I've created 80 Rand value. I multiply that by 1,000, I've created 80,000 value. I multiply that by 1 million, you get the numbers. So one of the best places where you can raise capital are your customers. So if I have got orders for 80,000 Rand of these cups, right? Or rather 100,000 Rand of these cups, but they cost me 20,000. There are many people I can go to and say, won't you lend me 20,000? Because I've got these orders from these people who are all quite credible people ready to buy my cup for 100,000. Are you not going to lend to that guy?
You definitely will.
You are. So it's a lot easier. Why? Because you have value. Now, the lower the value you have, the harder it is to raise that capital.
Sure.
So, you know, entrepreneurs need to question constantly, how valuable is my product or service to my customers? Am I on the high value or am I low value? So low value might be something that is normal. You know, a general dealer, a little spaza shop, bread, drink, little smokes, you know, not that valuable. Yeah, the
Because
value
there's
is that
other
it's a
people
short.
doing it.
There's
Yeah.
so many. The only value is that you're a little bit closer to my house than the other guy.
Other one.
Yeah. Now there's Uber deliveries. I can even deliver this thing. So you have to think, oh, maybe that's not the business to be. And I find that a lot of guys and girls are so in love with what they do for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they came up with it, right? That they get stuck in that thing, even when it's no longer compelling. Because a new innovation has eroded that value. Somebody's come up with something and this thing is no longer, valuable to customers. My advice, constantly, don't be afraid to quit. Leave it. Do something else. Because it might not be a good idea anymore. Now there you are, banging your head against the wall because, this is my baby.
My baby.
Hey, it's not going to help you because life has moved on.
I think the value thing is we've pinned it. we've pinned it. Now, on cracking the code, right? Please complete the sentence for us.
Candy, there's also a quiz here.
This one mistake could be tanking your chances of getting funded.
Not having the answer to the question, what could go wrong? And what I mean by that is that most lenders, if they worth their salt, they'll hear your whole story. You'll come up with your old clitic pitch, and they'll say, okay, what's the risk?
What's the risk?
What could go wrong here? And if your answer is, no.
Nothing.
Go wrong. Nothing will go wrong here. They'll start going, this guy is not prepared for what could go wrong, and therefore, we don't trust he'll be able to respond to anything that might threaten the model.
Sure.
So that would be my answer.
All right. Not many people know this about funding, but
not many people know this about funding.
You can include anything about the funding process.
But it depends. It's important to build relationships before you need the funding.
Ooh.
So most people go and meet funders when they need the funding. Yeah, that's like, I don't know. That's gotta be the dumbest thing you could ever do.
Sure.
Almost everything that's difficult, you gotta prepare the ground. So what most people don't appreciate is if I have a business and I have a bank account, how do I build a relationship with my corporate banker? How do they come and visit my business? Because remember, it's in their interest to give you debt.
100%.
That's how they get paid bonuses. That's their job. So they're looking for opportunities to give money away. But if you're not working those relationships, if you're not talking to them about how I can clean up my record, maybe buy an asset, maybe land, maybe I got a little bit of a property, or whatever it may be, where can I access finance? Could I go and value my property, see if I can raise a bond, or how can I you do that before you need the funding.
And they can help you in the process, right? Help
Absolutely.
you prepare.
They'll help you prepare. Absolutely.
They'll help you prepare. Okay? If you can't show this, don't pitch yet. One crucial indicator.
If you can't show the prospect of positive cash flows, don't pitch yet. The only reason the bank will lend you the money is if they believe you have the potential to pay it back. It's really
that's
that
money.
simple.
That's cash flow.
Yeah, it's not your grandfather's money. It belongs to the bank. They're going to want it back. So why would they be so irresponsible? And many people don't think about this.
Yeah.
Banks don't have their own money. Almost all the money in the bank belongs to other people, corporates and us who work and get paid our salaries and they go into the bank. That's the money they lend to people. So why would a bank take Kitu's money and lend it to Andile when they can see Andile can't pay back? What happens when Kitu needs to go to the ATM and withdraw her money? How will I make sure it's there as a bank? So because of just simply that model alone, if you can't prove that there's a prospect of positive cash, in other words, net positive cash, i.e., after I've paid all my bills, there's money in the account, don't pitch.
Exactly.
Because you won't get it.
Sure. And consistent cash flow, hey?
Absolutely. Not these once-offs.
Not the once-offs.
Hey, I did this 10 and I told a million. Can you tell a million again? That's the question.
Okay. And the last one. This is how I evaluate a business when I'm in investor mode.
This is how I evaluate a business when I'm in investor mode. I look for the uniqueness of how they make money.
The uniqueness of how they make money.
It has to be compelling and unique. And I'll give you a couple of things. So the customer.
Yeah.
Why does the customer buy their product? Right? What other options does the customer have? Why would they always buy this product and not the next product? Right? How big is
Sure.
this market that they're in? Right?
And that goes back to the value thing you're speaking about.
It has to be value. So are they in the 80 Rand value band or they 5 Rand or 2 Rand 50? I'm not so excited about the 5 Rand guy. But man, if I can get the 80 Rand guy in whatever it is that he does, I'm AOA.
Sure. So now, as we close, I just want to skip to Andile the person. And Andile the human, when did you first realize the power of funding as a growth tool?
The power of funding as a growth tool. It was probably when we had to raise money for Power FM. It was a big dream. We'd done all the hard work. We had, made a plan to apply for the license. We had brought on partners that also chipped in.
Yeah.
Somehow we convinced ICASA to give us this license.
Yeah.
But now, you're a group of guys with a piece of paper that says you can open a radio station. That doesn't mean much.
Sure.
And this radio station needs offices, it needs studios, it needs talent, it needs to pay rent, it needs to pay salaries, it needs to buy OB vans, it needs to compete with the best talent in the game. We were hiring people from the top radio stations in the country and TV stations and even newspaper companies.
I remember that.
We needed money for this. So I just remember how hard it was, that whilst it was exciting, we had so much against us. One, people just didn't understand the business of radio because the way people interact with radio, it's the thing you put on in your car.
They don't see it as a business.
They don't see
it as a business.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, or the thing you put on at home when you're cleaning on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
It's not the thing you interact with as a business, like a mine or something like that. So yeah, that was the first time it came front and center to me that if we don't raise this money, all we have is a piece of paper and we don't really have a business.
Sure. What is the most common advice that your friends and family come to you for?
You mean other than relationship advice?
Other than relationship advice?
Friends and family advice to me, investment.
Yeah,
I don't know why I always get.
But naturally.
Oh man, people think I'm a financial planner or something. I'm like, I get advice. I too don't know what to invest in. Like people always ask me, what do you think about crypto? I'm like, I don't know. It just looks shady to me. They're like, I have a friend who made so much from Bitcoin. I'm like, okay, let's do it. No, but if you say I shouldn't do it, I won't do it. Dude, I'll tell you this much. I don't do it. Okay, I know. So people think I'm a guru in personal investment. No. I too have a financial advisor. I ask him those questions.
That's funny. All right. So how do you deal with no's, particularly from a funding perspective in your own businesses?
I always ask why. Yeah. There's not many lessons to learn from success, Kitu. Success doesn't teach you much because of the euphoria of success. The pain of failure is the greatest opportunity for learning. Because there you are depressed. You've just been told no. You worked really hard for this thing. That is an opportunity for you to ask, why? Where did I go wrong? How could I have improved? And sometimes it's not even you. Sometimes it's the rules of the other person. It's like the dating game. Sometimes the girl doesn't say yes because you're a bad guy. She just has different taste. She just has a different taste. She doesn't like tall, light-skinned guys. And there you are, you're heartbroken or I'm a failure in life. Maybe there's another girl who likes tall, light-skinned guys. So sometimes the failure is missed as an opportunity for people to learn.
Sure. And what's the one piece of advice you wish you knew earlier on about money?
I wish I knew how powerful the law of compounding interest is. I wish I knew what it really meant when people say it's not timing the market, it's time in the market. We don't realize. And now that I'm 47, I see it differently. I wish I knew this when I was 27.
Sure.
Because if I had made certain decisions at 27, without doing much, the money would have just worked for itself. Because I have time.
Explain to a 27-year-old what.
So what I mean, Mr. 27-year-old out there, is that if you can find your thing, whatever that thing is, and you hone your skill, you spend enough time and hours doing it, Google 10,000 hours and you'll read about a guy called Malcolm Gladwell who wrote a book about this very principle. That if you hone your skill on a particular thing and and you do it over and over and over, and you try to be the best at it, it is only a matter of time that you will eventually master it. So it's all about time. It's all about compound interest.
Sure.
If, though, in the same time, you did 15,000 different things, you'll be okay at 15,000 things.
Yeah.
You won't be brilliant and great at that one or two things. So for me, the younger me, I would have really thought, like, what are the things I want to spend my time in? And because I know that over 10,000 hours, at the 10,001st hour, I would have mastered that particular thing.
Sure. And lastly, so you are the founder of I'm an Entrepreneur.
Yes,
and
that I am.
The base of I'm an Entrepreneur is helping entrepreneurs build and grow their businesses.
Yeah,
but you've obviously continued with this trend in the other work that you do in your investment company.
Yeah.
What keeps you going back to that?
To what?
Investing in businesses.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being easy looking after 10 businesses.
Yeah, you know what? So first of all, it's fun. It's a hell of a lot of work. It's a lot of worrying. Think about it. If you own one business, that's a lot of worry already. Imagine owning or having an equity stake in 6 or 7 businesses. You have got 6 or 7 CEOs and partners. Each company is employing so many people. Right now, across the group, I was doing the numbers the other day. We have 500 employees across companies. Like, I have to worry about 500 people. One of those 7 has to worry about 80 people, right? Which is a worry. Think about
Sure.
And also, you're in the receiving end of a lot of help requests. You're in the receiving end of, any given day, any of these CEOs or CFOs could call me and ask and need help. I must be available for that. Any of their customers could call me for help or a complaint. Oh, this went wrong. Oh, won't you call your guy? Or I've been waiting for your guy. He never called.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of work, but I will tell you this much, Kitu, I wouldn't change it for a thing because it is so much fun. You work with really awesome people. People who care about their staff, people who care about their businesses. Some of them started these businesses. Some of them are family businesses. Like Ints is a over 100-year business.
Sure.
Just like being part of that and being part of its next kind of chapter. It's a lot of fun. And as much as my job can be hard, I really empathize with the people that wake up every day and have to run this business with these people every single day. That's even harder work in my view.
Sure, I could continue this conversation forever.
Yes.
Forever. But
especially when you hijack me.
But just last words for our entrepreneurs, especially those ones sitting at home and saying, I'm so inspired.
Yeah.
Now I really want to, I see a chance of me getting funding. I see a chance of me getting somewhere in my business. What is your last word to that guy or that girl?
So I heard something the other day that's been playing on my mind for the past few days. And I heard it from another businessman. And he was saying that often business and community are seen as different things. In other words, somebody that pursues kind of their own business or their own career or their own aspirations is leaving the community behind. And then somebody that's in the community that works in the community to help people is giving up their career or their lives. And this guy was making the point that what is the point of being in the community, but you got nothing to offer? Because the community already has many people that need help.
Yeah.
So if you know that there's a burning desire in you, there's a fire in you, there's something that wants more, you just feel like you built different. You really want to pursue that career, that business, that opportunity. And you almost feel a little bit left out sometimes, like your friends want to go and do something. You're like, nah, that's not me. If you feel like you're that guy, be that guy. If you don't feel like you're that girl, be that girl, because you're the person that's going to pursue this. That's one day going to be able to bring something to that same community.
To the community. Yeah. I like that. Mr. Khumalo,
hola.
Thank you.
Hey, Tara. Thank you, guys. Bye.